My name is William Justice. Today I'm going to show you how I created this quick intro animation for my channel using Davinci Resolve and Fusion. Welcome to a Resolve Fusion walkthrough, where we go step by step through a detailed Fusion animation. I've had a lot of requests for people asking how I created my new intro, so I thought I'd show you how I made it. Most of the animation is in Fusion, but I did do a few things on the timeline just to add a bit to it. There's quite a few steps, so this video may be a little bit longer. I just wanted to go in detail to show you exactly how I set it up. There's 4 basic parts to this Fusion animation. First, the text for the WJ is revealed with glowing colored flashes. Next, the W and J animate to reveal the text, William Justice. After that, the filmmaking, editing, and effects drops in below the text, and some icons pop up on top. In the last part of the animation, everything gets a little bit larger, shakes, flashes, and then zooms out. If you enjoy my videos and would like to see more on Davinci Resolve and Fusion, please subscribe and like this video. Any questions or comments, leave them below. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, let's get started. We have a blank Fusion composition and we're going to add in a background. I'm going to connect the background to the media out. Click the text node and drag that in and take the output of the text node into the background to create a merge node. And this is going to be our first text. We'll bring up the inspector and we'll say William. Let's increase the size of that. Let's set the font. We choose prompt. Adjust the size up just a bit. Select the text node, hit Control-C to copy it, Control-V to paste it. Take the output of the text node and drag it into the merge to create another merge. And this is going to be our second text. Okay, let's position the text. On the text node, hit the layout icon, and I'm going to move it over, this one a little bit over to the right, and hit the first text and move it a little bit over to the left. We'll just try to center it just a little bit. That's probably good enough. Now we're going to use a rectangle mask around both of the text nodes. So with text 1 selected, hit the rectangle mask, and we're going to size this up to be right about the size of the text and put it right in the middle. Let's select the second text node, hit the rectangle mask, and we're going to do this on the justice part. Put the mask around the justice. Okay, now that we have the mask set to the right size, we're going to adjust the position and the masking so that we're just going to see the W and just the J. Let's start with the William. Let's select the text. We're going to take the text and slide it all the way over so that we're just going to see the W. For the justice, we're going to take the rectangle mask and we're going to slide that over so that we only see the J. So we're going to go to the center X position and we're going to slide it over to the left so that we just have the J. So we have the WJ. All right, now we're going to add in our colored flashes to reveal the pieces of the letters. So I'm going to take the J and we're going to move that all the way over because we need some room to work in here. To do this, we're going to use a paint node. So we're going to start with the background and drag that in, take the background and merge it in. We're going to set the alpha of the background to 0. With the background selected, click the paint node. Paint selected, go up to the tools area and click this line here, which is a polyline stroke. And we're going to draw a stroke. We need to start a little bit off the screen and we're going to drag it to a little bit off this edge of the screen. This is going to be the flash that goes through the first part of the W. And you can take this and adjust the position a little bit like that. Okay, let's go to the inspector. In the brush controls, we're going to make it a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner. This is adjust the thickness of that line. We're going to make it a little bit thinner. Close the brush controls and let's go to stroke control. So this is where we're going to create our flash. You can use the right on property to set which areas of the line are visible. And we're going to animate this to create the flash going across. So let's get about the right size. Maybe a little bit bigger. That's pretty good. And next we're going to set the color. So we'll make this one blue. Okay, so to animate this, let's start with frame number 5. And we're going to take this right on, and you can click right in between these 2 dots and drag the position like that. So we're going to drag it all the way up. We're going to keyframe the right on property, and we're going to go over 9 frames. And then take the right on and drag it all the way to the bottom. So next let's add a glow effect. With the paint selected, hit Control Space and type glow, and we'll add that in. And let's adjust the glow. We'll give it a glow size, and yeah, so you can really do whatever you want with this. Let's make that, let's see how that looks. I think I want that a little bit bigger. So let's go to the paint node, brush controls, and we're going to make it just a little bit thicker of a line. Okay, that looks pretty good. So this is going to come down through here and reveal this part of the W. So we need to just copy this 3 times. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's take the paint and the glow, and we're going to hit Control-C to copy it, and Control-V to paste it. We're going to do that 2 more times. And we're going to take the background and put this into each of the paint nodes. And let's merge each of the glows in. Okay, so right now they're all right on top of each other. So we just need to position them. So let's go to merge 4 here, which is going to be the second line. And we're going to move it over a little bit and adjust the angle. Okay, that's about right. Let's change the color. So we'll hit the paint node and go to modifiers, and we'll make this one kind of that color there. So we just need to do this with the other 2 lines. I'm going to go to the merge and adjust the positions. Adjust the angle just a bit to get it to line up. It doesn't have to be exact, but just kind of close. Hit the paint, and then modifiers, and we'll make this one kind of a green. And we just got to do the last one now. So what we'll do is hit merge 6. Move it over a bit. Let's put it in the viewer. Move it over a bit, adjust the angle, and try to line it up with that segment. Okay, so here's what we have. So the idea is that each of these glowing lines, we want it to just kind of go through one of the parts of the W. I'm going to adjust the color of paint 3. So we'll hit the last paint, go to modifiers, and we'll make this one kind of an orange. Okay, we have all our lines going through. Let's adjust the timing. We want each one to start when the previous one is leaving the screen. So the blue one is the first one coming through. So let's find out where that's leaving the screen. That's leaving the screen right around frame 13. So we want the second one to start around frame 13. So let's click this second paint here, and we're going to go to the spline editor. Make sure you have paint and the start and end select. This is showing the keyframe option. So what we're going to do is we're going to just adjust this. So we want this thing to start around frame 13 and end 9 frames later. Okay, so make sure you have the paint selected along with the start and end for the one you want to use. Right now I have the option to show only the selected tools. So when you click the tool, it's going to show you the spline options for that tool. Kind of simplifies things so you don't have as many things down here in the spline editor. So let's click this button right here to resize it. And we're going to highlight the points and just move them around. We're going to highlight the points and we're going to click this box right here, the shape box. And this allows us to move where the points are. So we're going to move this to where it starts at frame 13, right in here. And it's going to go for 9 more frames. And click off the box. Let's see what we have. So we just need to do this for the other 2. So we're going to, right when this is going off the screen, we're going to click the next paint, select it in the spline editor. And we're just going to move these points. So we're going to select the points, hit the shape box, and looks like this one is starting at about frame 21. So we need to move this over to frame 21. And it's going to go for about 9 frames. So we'll go to about 30. And let's do it for the very last one. We're going to click the last paint, check all the points, find the select points, click shape box, and some of those points. And it's going to be starting around frame 29. Let's see what we have. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, let's set up the masking for the W. We're going to create 4 masks so that we can control when each part of the W is shown. Let's click the polygon mask and drag that in. And we're going to do the first part of the W. Just this one line right here. And you can adjust it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you can get it kind of close in there. And let's connect it up to the merge to see what works. Once this is connected, we're going to be able to use the level on the mask to show and hide that part of the W. Let's create the other ones real quick. We'll add another polygon mask. This one is going to go over the second piece. One more. And then the last one. We'll take these and connect them into the merge, and we can just take each polygon and drag it into the one in front of it. That should give us full control over when each section is going to be shown. Now let's time these up. So we're going to start them all, and we're going to set them all at level 0. Zoom out a bit. Okay, so the first polygon, we're going to set the level to 0 and wait for the blue flash to get right on it. We'll keyframe the level and go over 3 frames and set the level to 1 so that it'll fade in right as it's passing over it. We'll do the next one, polygon 2. Right as it's passing, we'll keyframe the level, go 3 frames and crank it up. Third line, wait till it passes. Keyframe the level at 0, go 3 frames and set the level up to 1. And let's do the last one. We'll keyframe the level at 0, go 3 frames. Okay, let's see what we have. All right, that's looking really good. The next thing we want to do is the J. Now the J is we're going to use a curved line. So let's go over it a little bit and we'll click merge 2 and put that in the viewer. So there's our J. So we're going to basically do the same thing with a curved line. We'll take a background, add a paint node to the background. We'll copy this glow and paste that in, put the paint into the glow, and merge the glow in. take the background and move the alpha all the way down so it's transparent. And paint 2, let's draw our line. Zoom in just a bit. We're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to click the polyline stroke and we're going to start it off the screen, kind of drag it into the J, click a couple times. We can be able to smooth that out and then have it come up off the screen. Let's zoom in and we're going to highlight these points, highlight the points and click this line right here to smooth them out a little bit. Let's click Merge 7 and hit 2 to view our line. Click Paint and let's make the line just a little bit thinner. Bring the size down a touch. Now we're going to scroll down to Stroke Controls. For the right-on property, let's adjust the line length to where it's just off the screen and set a keyframe. Let's go over 12 frames. And we're going to take the right-on and drag it all the way through the animation till it goes off the screen. For the paint node, let's set the color. Let's choose make this one a bit green. So the next thing we need to do is fix the J. So let's click on this merge here. We want the J to be hidden until the color goes through it. So let's step through. So right here, we want it to start showing up. Let's go to the merge 2 and keyframe the blend property. We're going to set it to 0, go over 3 frames and put it at 1. Next, we're going to animate the J's. The J is going to spin around the W and then the words are going to reveal. To do the animation, click the text node and we're going to add 2 transform nodes. On the bottom transform node, select it and let's zoom in just a bit. We're going to take the pivot position and move it right in the middle of the W. And that's going to set the J to circle around the W when we adjust the angle. Let's put a keyframe on the angle and we're going to go over 12 frames and set the angle to 360. Once we have that, the J is going to rotate around the W. As it rotates, you know the J goes upside down and it's following the angle of the rotation. So we just need to counteract that with the transform here. We'll set the keyframe on the angle, go over 12 frames, and set the angle to minus 360. So the J will spin in the opposite direction of the bigger circle. And we need to take the pivot point and put it right in the middle of the J. And here's what we have. Let's add a little motion blur to the J. So let's click the Transform 2 and go to the settings and choose motion blur. Okay, now that the W and J are in position, it's time to reveal the text. So for the W with the William, we're going to click Text 1 and we're going to make sure that we have the Layout tab selected and we're going to reveal it by adjusting the X position. Now you notice it's being masked out here and we're not seeing it. That's because of this masking we did down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a mask that will show all of that. We're going to take the rectangle mask and drag that in and connect that up to the very last polygon for one of the W masks that we did. And that's going to create this big box which lets us see the full text. Make it a little bit bigger. Size does not matter there, that's fine. We have our big mask set, let's do the reveal. So to do this, we're going to click Text 1 and you want to make sure you're on you're in the frame right when the J is finishing. And we're going to click Text 1, make sure we're on the Layout tab, and set a keyframe on the position, and we're going to go over 6 frames. Let's make it 7. And we're just going to slide it back to reveal all of our text. We can smooth that out. We go into the spline editor, click Displacement, we'll highlight our nodes, and we'll just smooth those out a bit. You can play with those. And then right as the William is finishing, we're going to reveal the Justice part. So let's go back to, we're going to use the rectangle to do that. Remember we put the rectangle on the J. So all we need to do to reveal the J is just slide that rectangle over. So we'll click Rectangle 2 and keyframe the position. And let's go over about 7 frames and slide the position of the rectangle over. And we have a reveal. Let's go ahead and we'll smooth those out too. Select both of those in the spline editor and we'll click the little curve icon there. Let's see what we have. Now it's time to create the filmmaking, editing, and effects text that is going to drop down from underneath the William Justice. So let's add a text node in. We'll drag that into the node area. And we're going to set it as filmmaking, editing, effects. Choose the prompt font. Now we just need to get it sized and positioned right under William Justice. So let's take the text 2 here and drag it into the merge 7. So we got a merge node. And now we just need to size and position. That looks pretty good. Now let's adjust the size a little bit. Now we're going to create 4 copies of this text, or actually 3 copies of the text, so we have 4 versions of it for masking out the filmmaking, editing effects, and then the dashes between those. So let's take the output of the text 2 and drag it into the output of the merge to create our second copy, and we'll do that 2 more times. So we can use the merge to adjust the position here. So what we're going to do is we're going to click the first one and we're going to create a mask for filmmaking. So we'll take the rectangle mask and add it onto the merge, and we're going to put it right where it says filmmaking. We're going to do the same thing for editing, effects, and the 2 dashes. So let's do editing now. Merge 9, add a rectangle mask, and position it. Let's do effects. It's going to be merge 10, add the rectangle mask. And merge 11, we're going to create 2 masks, 1 for each of those dashes. And copy that and hit paste, so because we're going to do another one. We'll drag that into the other rectangle and move it over the other dash. So now that this is set up, we can use these merges to reveal our text. Okay, so I'm going to take what I did here and disconnect it real quick by selecting all these nodes, hold shift, and we're going to drag those off. We're going to add a background to put it into this merge to set the composition size going into the merge, and take the alpha all the way down to the background. Then I'm going to take this merge here and drag it into the merge 7. So I want to be able to control this independently to either move this around as a set or adjust some other properties. But right now I'm just going to use it for the blend. So we're going to take the blend down a little bit to make the William Justice text bright, and then the filmmaking editing effects a little bit darker, so kind of blended into the background. All right, let's animate the text underneath here. So we just need to figure out where we want it to start. And timing wise, we want it to start right when the justice finishes. So let's click merge 8, and we're going to keyframe the center position, go over about 5 frames, and keyframe it again. So let's go back to where we first keyframed it, and we just have to move it up a bit. So now it's going to drop in just like that. We have the points in the spline editor, so let's select them, highlight those points, and hit the smooth icon. I think I want that to go a little bit faster, so let's go select those points again and use the box right there. I'm going to just move it in a couple of frames. We'll have it go pretty quick. Right as that one's finishing, let's go for editing. We'll click editing. We'll keyframe it. I think I probably did about 3 frames there, so let's go over 3 frames. We'll keyframe it, click the back arrow to go to the first frame, and we're just going to move the Y position up. Highlight both points. Smooth it. Let's see what we have here. Both of those are dropping in. Now it's time to do the effects. Same thing as we did before. We'll click this merge 10, which is what the effects is on. We'll keyframe it, go over 3 frames, hit a keyframe. That'll be our ending position. We'll go back to the first keyframe and move it up a bit. In the spline editor, select both points and smooth them. And the last one we have to do is the dashes. So that's going to be our merge 11 here. And we want it to start right when effects drops in. Click merge 11, keyframe the position, go over 3 frames, keyframe it, back to the first one, and just move it up. All right, so now we have our text dropping in. So I think we can add some motion blur on each of those. So I'm going to click each of these merges and add some motion blur. It's time to add in some icons. We're going to put them in right here in our node flow. We'll get rid of the inspector temporarily and drag the media out. Let's go to the media pool and drag in each of our icons. All right, we'll move these guys over just a bit. Let's add in a background node, and we're going to go to the inspector and let's set that to be alpha 0, so it's transparent. And we're just going to take each of these graphics and merge them into that background, and the next merge and the next one. After the last merge, we're going to add a transform node, and let's take a look what that looks like. Okay, so let's just adjust the positions of each of our icons. We'll take the merge 13 and we'll slide that icon over. We'll click our transform, and we'll take the output of the transform and we'll merge it in to the nodes right there by going into node 12. And we have our merge, and we'll go to media out and hit 2. So now we can just use this transform to take those icons and move them up into position. We're going to do the same thing we did with this text here. Let's click the last merge, and we're going to take the blend and bring it down so that they're a little bit darker. And I'm going to adjust the positions a little bit to kind of clean it up. All right, that's probably good enough. So now what we need to do is just animate the size on these guys. And we're gonna start animating them right when the last text drops in. So it drops in right there. So let's go to the first merge. We'll set a keyframe on size and we'll bring it down to 0. We'll go over 3 frames and set it to 1. So that's gonna pop in just like that. So right when that one finishes, we're gonna start the next one. Go to the next merge, keyframe the size, take it to 0, go over 3 frames, and set the size to 1. Do the next one. Let's get rid of the media pool. The next thing we're going to add in is a transform. We're going to add a transform and have it zoom a bit bigger, and then it's going to zoom all the way out. So with merge 17, we're going to click a transform node. We'll delay it just a little bit. On the transform, we'll keyframe the size. We'll go over a few frames. We'll bring the size up. We'll let it hold there for a little bit, so go over a few more frames and keyframe the size and go over about 5 or 6 frames and take the size all the way down. You notice we have the black right. To get rid of that, we can go to the very first node right here, this background node, and take the alpha all the way down. That was just in there so that it was a little bit easier to see. All right, let's see what we got here. One last thing we want to do is go to the very last transform, and let's add a little motion blur to that. All right, let's check this out. When I did the last one, I kind of tweaked some of these a little bit more and adjusted some of the and I just a little bit more of the smoothing. But hopefully this will give you the idea of how the basics is set up. Once I set up the basic animation, I put it on the timeline. I'm going to add a few more effects as well as some sound effects to kind of finalize it. All right, we have the animation loaded in the timeline. This is the base audio, and I got this from the YouTube audio library. I was looking for something that was just a little bit kind of fun and got things moving. The animation plays through, and I have some sound effects down here, and these are some some swooshes and pops and things. The last thing I did is I added on this timeline. We'll go to Open Effects. I added a vignette to kind of darken it up around a little bit, and then I added a camera shake, and the camera shake I have it come on right there. Just kind of give it a little movement, a little motion while it's standing still, because it kind of zooms up, shakes a little bit, and then it zooms out. And the last thing, which I think turned out pretty good, it's kind of subtle, but I added this this flicker addiction, and you can see it's kind of flickering a little bit blue. So I added the flicker addiction and set it to flicker the B channel, the blue channel, and adjusted some of the settings. So there's just a little bit of a blue flicker. You can kind of change the color if you wanted it kind of green or red, things like that. It zooms out at the end, and that's how I set up the... Hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe for more videos like this. Comment below with any questions or feedback. I'd love to hear from you. Also, if you're looking for more information on Resolve, you ought to check out the new Discord server that's been set up. It's a great place where you can connect, get questions answered, and find other people that are interested in Davinci Resolve and learning how to use it. There's a link in the description of this video with more information. Thanks for watching.